right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday to you all. Yeshwant, much love to you. Thank you for tuning in from India. Lil Rich 69, much love to you as well. R Pink, Crypto Wander 5813, thank you guys so much for being here and for modding for me. And yes, please do hit the like button, guys. If you do get any sort of insight into the market from this live stream, please hit the like button. And adjusting trades, possible bounce off the POC then to 65K. Yeah, I'm actually watching for that. Now, I did take a short earlier today, and I'll talk to you guys about that in just a second. I let you guys know in the Telegram as well. Remember yesterday, we talked about how this was more likely to be a three-wave corrective move. And we had a couple purple boxes of resistance. We had one here, and we had the one that's currently on the screen now. And I said those were levels that I was interested in looking for shorts, but we had to be careful because this move was more likely to be corrective. So it was more likely that we were going to take out the high from Monday. And sure enough, we busted straight through this box. No resistance at all at that box. I let you guys know, straight bust through, no trade, no reaction. And then as we were coming up to the 786, we actually tapped the 786. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. We tapped the 786, but we weren't really getting rejections. And I really wanted to see the SFP of this high. We got at the SFP of that high. We just got a small pullback, and then we kept going here. Now, that happened pretty late at night for me, and I wasn't interested in taking the trade here just based off timing, and I didn't want to, babysit it. Plus, we weren't getting the best of reactions. But we continued up through this purple box, and we had the scenario play out like I mentioned yesterday, that it was likely that we were going to come take out Monday's highs. Now, we did take out Monday's highs, but just barely. It's not a very good SFP. It's more of a double top, because you can see here, you took out the high by a few dollars, but in a swing failure pattern, you generally give some breathing room above that high in order to get stopped out. You give some breathing room for your stop loss. So yes, we did technically SFP that high, but it's not a very nice looking SFP. It's not like you need that $100, $200 wick above, so it actually stops out the traders, and then we get the big dump to the downside. Now, after SFPing the high, though, which was early this morning, you can see we're also at the value area high of a couple different ranges, or value area low of our bigger ranges. So we have, let me go zoom out to the 2-hour chart. On the 2-hour chart, we have our 5-week long range that goes back to the beginning of June. So, June 3rd-ish. You can see we're at the value area high of that range, and we're continuing to find resistance at that value area high. Well, that also happens to be the value area low of our 5-month long range. So it's the bearish backtest of the value area low. And then if we look at our range from last Saturday, so this range that's only about a week long, we're at the value area high of that range as well. So a lot of important volume resistance coming in at these, around $64,500. Okay, so now I want to zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and hide our 5-week long range for a second, but this is important. This bearish backtest of the value area low is important, because if we do start to see a bigger rejection here, we could make new lows below 57.7. But to me, that is not the highest probability scenario just yet. And what I want to focus on now is this small week long range. So I want to zoom back into the 15-minute chart. And when I took the short earlier today was after seeing the SFP of the highs. You can see we dumped back inside of our week-long range. Let me just put that on the chart. We dumped back inside. We did bounce from the POC, but after bouncing from the POC, we kind of had this sideways corrective move up to backtest that value area high, and this is where I shorted, at the backtest of the value area high after we fell back inside. Now, we are just chopping really between the value area high and the POC. And you can see the POC every time we come down to it. We just came down to it just before, 10, 15 minutes ago. And we're bouncing again. We're seeing a little bounce here. But because I am still in a long, my initial long entry was way down from $58,200. I am looking for hedge shorts just in case we do see that bigger retracement down to 60K or even to new lows. So I've entered the short from around 64.1. And if we start to lose this POC, I would expect a rotation down to the value area low. Now, we do have some local support at the value area low as well. If we pull our Fibonacci retracement, our golden pocket from the lows on Wednesday, July 8th to the highs from today, you can see our golden pocket is coming in right at that local value area low of this week-long range. And, you know, we're finding reacceptance back within. So if we lose the POC, it's very likely that we drop down to that at least 62.5, 62.6 area. Now, remember, guys, on Bybit, which is another valid exchange, we do have the larger POC. So we have our week-long range here. You can see that the POC of that range is down there, not up where we're at right now. Coinbase POC is where we're at right now. But the Bybit POC is down at the bottom of that range. But more importantly, if we look at our 5-week-long range, you can see the POC of that range is also at 62.5, where that local golden pocket is coming in. So around 62.6, 62.5, we have some nice volume-based support down there. And if we do continue to drop down there, we might see the bounce and continuation to the upside. And overall, I'm still looking for new highs. And yes, I do still, to answer your question, Justin Trades, I still do think 65K is possible. I still do think taking out Monday, June 22nd's highs are possible. And overall, on the macro time frame, we were looking at a couple different scenarios. From our low, let me go back to the Coinbase chart. From our low at $57,700, we were looking at either a bigger ABC, like an A, all of this is a B, or we could continue to extend this range and see a B and then a C wave coming up to take out your range highs at 67.3, 67.2-ish. That is one of our more bearish scenarios. And in the bullish scenario, we're going to just keep continuing up here, maybe take out those range highs and then see a retracement, and then we could continue pushing up into the mid to high 70s in an impulse. Either way, we're kind of in this flat correction that's going on right now. We're in this flat correction in here, and because we are going into the weekend, this flat correction could extend. So because this flat correction could extend, if we see that move back down to 62,500, I will take some profit for sure on my short at 62.5, and I will also look to compound the long position that I'm already in for much, much lower. I'll look to compound it for a second time. I've already taken a few TPs on that as well. If we can hold the POC that we're at right now. Now remember, Coinbase and Bybit have different POCs. The Bybit is down here. Coinbase is up here. If we can hold this POC on Coinbase and start to get back above the value area high again, then I think we are going to see continuation. And we're looking for high likelihood impulses. And remember, because this was a 3-wave corrective move, we wanted to see this move up be impulsive. And it's not clear yet that it's an impulse. If we zoom in onto the 15-minute time frame, we would have to count it as a multiple 1-2 or a double 1-2. You'd be looking like 1-2, 1-2, because there's overlap between the highs and the lows here. And then you could even add in a couple more 1-2s in here. You know, triple 1-2, you start getting that push up in the third wave, and then we'd be looking for those 4-5s, 4-5s, 4-5s to come up over the weekend, maybe this slow kind of corrective grind to the upside, if our POC holds. Now, if we lose the POC, and especially if we close the daily candle today below the POC, I'm talking about the Coinbase POC, around 63.6 to 63.7, I would say it's closer to 63.7, then I would be expecting that move down to 62.6 or 62.5-ish. Another thing I wanted to show you guys, we know that volume and liquidity are the most important things in sideways ranges. So this range here of the week has been pretty sideways, but overall also on the higher time frames for the past 5 weeks, the range that we have been in here is pretty sideways as well. It's kind of that descending channel. Remember, I showed you guys that yesterday. We have that descending channel, but it's like a sideways and down range. So sideways and down range there. I would like to see us continue up. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second, guys. With the channel, let's see here. There's the channel. We could continue to break up until we grab that liquidity at the top of the channel. in an impulse here. But we do want to see this move turn into an impulse. We want to make sure that this move continues pushing to the upside locally, and we're not going to break market structure. If we start to break some of these higher lows in here, then another scenario we could be looking at is, you know, some sort of flat correction in here where we do come down to 60K. We grab the liquidity that has been building, all three of these higher lows in here that has been building throughout the entire week. And then I would expect to see some sort of reaction here, some sort of bounce, and then we could continue to the upside. But overall, because our move up from 57.7 was a high probability impulse here, we are looking for higher lows before continuation to the upside and continuing this sideways range, continuing this sideways range, or breaking out of the range and seeing, you know, at least a liquidity grab of the range highs. Now, the bearish scenario, ABC, say this is an ABC, even if this is an ABC, generally your minimum target for the C wave is the 0.618. So if we take our trend-based Fibonacci extinction, we go from the lows to the highs to your lower highs. Your common target is between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236 for an ABC. But your minimum target is often that 0.618. And you can see that 0.618 is coming in pretty much right at the liquidity grab of 65.9, you know, right above these internal highs here. And then if we do make new lows, we would have to, you know, change that. But we can kind of diagnose that if we get that drop over the weekend. All right, let me check the chat here, guys. Welcome in. Dod Shahzad, welcome in. Hello, it's nice to see you as well. Eric, what's up, man? Do you think we will see 60K before 67K? So, Justin, that's a good question. It all depends on if we lose this POC and close the daily level below this POC. Because if we do have a higher likelihood of rotating down to the value area low, at least at 62.6. But I would say if we lose this value area low, then yes, the likelihood to come down to 60K is a lot bigger, in my opinion. But the likelihood of hitting 67K first, man, you know, we could see the rejection there at 65 and continue, because remember that bearish channel, the highs of that channel are coming in right around the SFP of those internal highs there. So yeah, we could see still a move up to 65.7, 65.9, and then see a rotation all the way back down. And it could actually bring us all the way back down to the bottom of the channel, and we just continue chopping sideways and down within this channel. But like I said, it all depends on what we're seeing here. Now, we did have some bear divs on the chart. If we go to the 1 hour chart, NAMI is quicker to confirm, and you can see NAMI confirm those bear divs on the chart. Money flow's draining out, and market cipher is topped out, and money flow is starting to round over. So the bear divs we're seeing could give us that breakdown to 62.6 at least. 62.6, 62.5. And then the other important thing that I wanted to talk about, in sideways ranges, we know that the most important thing in sideways ranges are volume and liquidity. We have our anchored VWAP, which is pretty much a volume-based trend support. And as long as you bounce from it, you expect to make new local highs. You bounce from it, you make new local highs. We did chop a little bit around it earlier this week, but because we held it, we made new local highs. And it was just by a few dollars, but we did. Another anchored VWAP we can pull, so you want to pull in a sideways range, you want to get those anchored VWAPs from the range lows, but you also want to take an anchored VWAP from the range highs. And this is important to see. Okay, what's going on there? Oh, sorry, guys, I grabbed the wrong thing. Let me go into the 4 hour chart, and we'll grab that anchored VWAP from the range highs. And this is important. You can see here our anchored VWAP, and let me just hide our lower anchored VWAP so we don't get confused here. But you can see our anchored VWAP in the downtrend. You come up to it, you reject, you make new lows. You come up to it, you reject, you make new lows, right? So it was acting as resistance. But when we broke above it, we back tested it, and it was also the back test of your anchored VWAP from the low. the wick, you know, right here on Monday or Sunday, I guess, was the anchored VWAP from the low. I think that was Monday morning right around market open. But you back tested it and you held it. And because we held it and we did come up and make new highs after holding it. We come down again. We held it again earlier in the week. And if we zoom in onto the 1 hour chart, you can see that we kind of just created that bottoming reversal, you know, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, you break it up, or whether you want to call this little structure here an inverse head and shoulders that you break up and then you come take out your highs. And so the other important, I guess, levels to watch is those anchored VWAPs, the anchored VWAP from the 57.7 low and the anchored VWAP from the 67.2 high. So I know it's a bit of a zone and I know they're starting to spread apart a little bit, but I also think that by the time, if we do start to lose this POC, by the time we actually get down to the value area low and the golden pocket, these are going to be coming up pretty close to that area. They might be a little bit underneath it. They might be in more confluence with the 786. So if we take this same fib pull from the lows to the highs and you put on your 786 as well, it would probably be, yeah, you're probably going to be closer to that 786 around 62.1 to around 62K. Now, in some ways, that 786 might get hit because we have all this liquidity that's been building here. You can see we have a low in here, we have a low in here, we have this low in here. So if we start to break down, we might sweep all those lows, come grab that internal liquidity, and then make that move up. And we can actually check our heat map. I have not checked that heat map recently on that. Let's see. Yeah, around 62. Let's go zoom out to the past week of price action. That's that sideways range that we've been looking at for the past week. Ooh, and unfortunately, you can see we don't have a lot of liquidity below those lows. It's really below our 61.5 liquidity. That was, I believe that was Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's see, that was on Wednesday. So below Wednesday's lows, and because Wednesday's lows are so close to Monday's lows, we would probably sweep both of them together. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at, but overall, I do think even if we dump to 60K, we're going to see higher, we're going to see a higher low being made and then continuation to some of these purple boxes above us. But we do have some concerning signs on the chart. If we zoom out to our 4 hour chart, you can see that we did print a hidden bear div on NAMI, which is a continuation pattern, and we could be looking at that flat, right? A 3-wave corrective move. You would have to count this as some sort of zigzag to the upside. This would be a WX, and then you would be looking for that 3-wave corrective move in a Y. And that 3-wave corrective move might be something like come down to golden pocket, bounce, come up to POC, reject, and then come all the way back down and at very minimum take out these lows in here. And that would give us our sideways range. So I still do have an alert, by the way, guys, set on Monday's low. And if we get that SFP, I will take that if we confirm it. But bear divs, we have bear divs on Market Cipher, 4 hour chart, bear divs confirmed. Hidden bear divs on NAMI. What is even more concerning, if we go to the 8 hour chart, on the 8 hour chart with the new high that we made today, we are confirming, well, not confirming yet because this hasn't rolled over officially, but we could be confirming some bear divs on Market Cipher, but NAMI has already confirmed them. You can see we do have bear divs on the 8 hour confirmed, and money flow bear divs looks like as well. So we had the daily time frame bull divs down here that really gave us that high conviction for a push up, but now we're seeing some intermediate time frame bear divs here, which could give us at least a move down to 60K before continuing this bigger move. And on the daily time frame, it is, I do like how Market Cipher's money flow is starting to bottom out here again, because yesterday it looked like it was going to continue diving down, and we would have to see how bearish our daily candle closes today. But you can see the wick on our daily candles is not an ideal wick for a bullish candle to the upside. At least it's going to be closing green. I think if it closes green, that's a good sign. But we really need to kind of see that. I would like to close it with a little bit less of a wick. Let's just say that. All right, let me check this chat here. And then before I check the chat, you can see money flow on NAMI, which is quicker. It is still looking pretty bullish here overall on the daily time frame. Weekly time frame, if we close the weekly candle, another green weekly candle, I would expect our weekly time frame on Market Cipher B to actually confirm. And you can see how it's rolling over, but it's not quite pushing to the upside just yet. And if we do close this candle green this week, I think this will start to confirm the weekly bull divs on Market Cipher. And remember, we're at crucial support. We're at our anchored VWAP. We're at multiple pitchforks support levels. So we would want to see that. Okay. Zoom into the 1 hour. Honestly, right now, guys, we're just low volume chopping. And between the value area high and the POC, low volume chop. But what this looks like to me is it does look like kind of we're at the very least, we're going to see this sort of 3-wave corrective move down. And because we have a big kind of imbalance in here, or, you know, let's turn on our fair value gaps. We have a fair value gap that's in there. You could see it, we would probably come down and at least fill that fair value gap. But at that point, we would probably be moving to your golden pocket. All right. We didn't take the high on Binance or Bybit, only Coinbase. Okay, let me check Binance because I thought we did. Okay, you're at 64.7 on Binance. And let's see, did we take it? No, we didn't. 64,692. Okay, that is actually bullish, guys. When not all the exchanges take the high, and when the one exchange that does take the high is a really weak piercing of that high, that's actually a bullish sign. So yeah, Binance did not. Bybit, at least the perpetual chart, it looks like it did. So that is 64,647. No, we didn't. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That is interesting. That is very interesting. So guys, now because of that, we could see continuation up. And remember, we want to see these, you know, we got some 1-2s, 1-2s, 1-2s. You could even say a 1-2 here. And then this would be your big third wave. We want to see now some 4-5s, 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 kind of pushing up to that 65.7. Or at least grabbing those highs that are at 65.5 on Bybit. I think on Coinbase, they're a little bit higher. Coinbase, they're coming in at 65.5. Yeah, okay, 65.550-ish. Now, what we can do is we can look at, because we want this to be impulsive here. You know, we saw this being corrective. We want this to be an impulse that at least takes out the highs. And on some exchanges, it didn't. So we can, if we're looking at a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, then we can pull that wave 4 target from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3. We put on our wave 4 targets, and you can see we are in that zone between the 382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci. And yeah, that 0.5 Fibonacci, 63.6 is where our 5-week long range POC is, right around 63.6. So let me go ahead and get that local range on the chart. You can see right below us. So even if we lose this week-long POC and come down just a little bit lower to hit our bigger range POC and bounce from that 0.5, I mean, I think that would be pretty nice to see. And we can zoom in on the lower time frames, you know, 5-minute, 12-minute, 15-minute. And if we're getting bull divs as we're coming down to this 0.5, it would be nice. And look at what we're seeing right now on NAMI. Multiple drives of bull div, money flow bull div here. Market Cipher not quite showing it, and we're just crossing into the red with no bull divs, but NAMI is quicker to confirm those scalps. So in my opinion, that's kind of nice. We're seeing kind of a nice signal here. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame, and on the 5-minute time frame, at least locally, we're not seeing 5-minute bull divs. No 5-minute bull divs locally here. Maybe we get that continued chop. I will say this. This doesn't look like it's impulsive, right? Unless we're starting to get some 1-2s building in here. Like this all was your big push down. And by the way, I talk about this a lot on the channel, and I know this is low time frame, but remember, you get your aggressive drop, and then you start that overlappy channel type structure that could show you that you are going to break out and see that reversal soon. So we can actually pull that channel. Let me go ahead and on the 5 minute, I would just go from this high to this high, and we'll bring it down to that low. And maybe even bring it down to this low here. Yeah, so we can look at this channel type structure. You can see the midline is being rejected multiple times. So if we continue to grind within this slow 5 minute channel and come down to the bottom of the channel, which is also where your 0.5 is, if we start to, after bouncing from the bottom of the channel, if we can start to break out of this channel, I would expect new highs to be made. What we can do is we can set an alert here on that 0.5 Fibonacci. I'll set an alert on that 0.5, and if we do get that, we can analyze the bull divs that we're seeing, or if we're going to see a high probability bounce and break of this small 5 minute channel. So for now, I'll hide that 5 minute channel, and then we can just analyze that. Do you see the inverted head and shoulders incoming on the 3-day? Yeah, I talked about that incoming head and shoulders. So, you know, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, model 2 or model 1 distribution. And inverse head and shoulders would be a model 2. But I've talked about this actually extensively on my channel. And let me just clean up this chart a little bit. What we're looking at here, I'm looking at two big possible accumulation patterns, right? So we can have that left shoulder here, right shoulder in here, and then if we do come down to 60K, you would have that, left shoulder head, and then you would have that right shoulder there on the 3-day time frame. But even this could be a smaller accumulation within a larger accumulation that lasts more months, right? So say we come down to 60K, we bounce, you would expect a new higher high above the range highs at 67.2. Now, it would be really important to break those range highs, but say we get the SFP of those range highs at 67.2, and then you wouldn't want to see the SFP. You would want to see a breakout and kind of a back test of the value area high of this range. You'd want to see a back test of the value area high, and if it holds, that's when you could see your bigger moves up to the mid 70s or high 70s. Then you could see a rejection from there, and you could work your way all the way back down to golden pocket, wherever that golden pocket's going to be, and you would be looking at a larger accumulation pattern, right? And you would have your accumulation within the head, but you would also have some accumulation, a tap 1 here, all of this being the tap 2 or the head, and this being the right shoulder or the tap 3. And that would give you that time frame of pushing out, if you look at the bottom of the screen here, into October, when the bear market is supposed to end as far as the 4-year cycle goes. So this is something that lines up time-wise with the 4-year cycle, which historically has been right all the time. That's why I'm following this scenario so closely. So we would have a bottom as far as price goes, but not necessarily a bottom as far as time goes. We would be kind of creating that max pain range that we know that often happens. All right. YouTube, stop giving me alerts. Oh, Glasshopper, welcome in, my friend. No worries. You know, it's just good to see you in here. And I'm sorry that YouTube stopped giving me alerts. Maybe you can try to like unsubscribe and resubscribe and set those alerts on. Ryan Henson, good afternoon to you, man. Hope you're having a good day today. Rajna J. Sign, God bless you as well, man. Thank you for the comment, and thank you for being here. Are you still planning a copy trade bot? Or, man, so here's the thing with the copy trade bot, guys. I do not take trade, like, for instance, let's say here, yesterday, let me just zoom in here. Yesterday, we laid out on the live stream yesterday 2 possible short scenarios if we were going to make a lower high, right? We turned on our range here, and because I said this was a likely 3-wave corrective move, I am expecting to take the highs, but just in case it's not, we're going to have 2 boxes on the chart. And we had our box that was around, man, it was the 786 in the value area high, and then I think we had a box around the golden pocket in here. So we had 2 boxes in here. We had a box here, and we had a box here. And I said, guys, I'm really not, you know, those are possible rejection zones if we're going to make a lower high, but I expect us to take out the range highs based off this being corrective. So if I set up a bot where I say, okay, possible short here, you get your stop is going to be above that box, and then you guys, there's no confirmation. So as soon as it hits that, the copy bot will trigger the short because we had it typed in, and you're going to get stopped out and lose that. But I'm a confirmation-based trader. As we were coming up to this box, we didn't have confirmation to enter the short. That's why I let you guys know in the Telegram, well, we busted straight through it. There was no short here. And then as we came up to this box, I let you guys know when we hit the 786, but we weren't really seeing rejections. And sure, we got a small pullback, but we still would have lost that trade. And we did have some confirmation there, but it wasn't the best, right? So the copy trade bot, I'm just concerned about, I can set some, entries with stop losses, whether it's a long or a short. But if it doesn't have confirmation, I'm going to have to come in and say, guys, be aware it doesn't have confirmation, but that might be too late. And some people might have already entered that trade. I'm trying to work with them, and there really is no way around getting around that. That's the thing with these bots. So I still probably will do it eventually in the future, but I want to give you guys that warning because confirmation is the way I enter trades. All right, looks like we're bouncing pretty nicely from this POC. One thing I do want to show you guys. Oh, Mark Dutch, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you in here. Copy Dutch bot will get you wrecked. Yeah. Mark, it's awesome to see you, man. Hope you're having a good time in Sylvania. Yeah, we'll check some of the altcoins, guys. We can check Reccoin. We can check DGB. We'll do that in just a second. Okay, after we get to the bear market low, what possible pitchforks can we pull for the next bull market? That's a great question, Mildly Gorgeous. And what we'll do, so let me just zoom out on the daily real quick, and then I'll go into, I want to look at Bitcoin. But say we have our low here, right? Say 57.7 is going to be the low. And then say we're going to break this to the upside, and we're going to take out the range highs, or we're going to continue up into the mid 70s. And then we see that rejection for a higher low. Now you can take your pitchfork and you can go from the low to the high to the lower high. And then we can put it, because we would be expecting a wave 3 here, an explosive wave 3 here on the weekly, we could take this and we could put this on a modified skiff or even an original pitchfork. And that'll give us those big targets for that big breakout, and we can look at other confluences for potential areas to look at. So we will be able to pull pitchforks, but what you want to do with pitchforks is you're looking at major trends, right? So you pull it from the high. Now, once we break above 67.2, wherever that high is going to be, you can put your second pivot of the pitchfork there. And then once you make the higher low, you can put your third pivot of the pitchfork there. And then that'll give you months and months into the future of looking at that. And actually, that is what I did. Let me go ahead and show you guys the way I traded the bull market for most of 2025. I actually was very, very successful trading the bull market of 2025. I'm going to hide our bearish pitchfork real quick. But in the bullish cycle here, from our wave 3, right? We had, let me just zoom out to like the 3-day time frame. We had our very, very nice target, impulsive wave 1, wave 2 and a flat, 3, 4, 5, right? And so we clearly saw that this push up was the most explosive volume filled move to the upside. And so when I was trying to get my targets for my wave 5s, when I was trying to get the potential bull market highs, I had pulled our pitchfork from the low of 3 to the high of 3 to the low of 4. And then I turned on that wave 3 pitchfork. Sorry, that's our wave 1. This is our wave 3 pitchfork. And look at what happened with that, guys. We literally had such nice confluence. Now that I showed you guys that, I'll zoom in on the daily, and you can see where we ended up making our all-time high at the beginning. We came down to the pitchfork lower band. Then we worked our way up, and we saw these major rejections. But you can also see, I remember warning you guys, the day we started to lose this and close a daily candle and then the weekly candle below this, I told you guys to watch for the bearish backtest of the pitchfork. And if we get those bearish backtests and reject, I expect new lows below 74K, because at the time 74K was our low. So when we started to see the breakdown of this pitchfork, bearish backtest, bearish backtest, bearish backtest, but we kept making higher lows here. So we wanted one more backtest. You get it, which is also your anchored VWAP. Boom, big drop, right? So this pitchfork is obviously used up. It's not relevant anymore. I keep it on the chart just for references, just like this. But we'll look at that, Mildly Gorgeous. We'll be able to look at these pitchforks. And then you can also look at the bigger pitchforks, right? So we have our bearish pitchfork that I just showed you guys, and let me hide this. We have our bearish pitchfork that I just showed you guys, and we have our bigger macro. Where is it at? Macro pitchfork, right, from the last cycle. So we can even follow these bigger macro pitchforks, and you can see we're coming down to that pitchfork midline. We could still be paying attention to these targets up here. And then when our new pitchfork, say we get this, you know, on our new pitchfork, and we pull a pitchfork here, here to here, our new pitchfork lines up with some of these bigger targets. Those confluences are what really matter. And that's why right now, the support we're at, you can see it's our last bull cycle pitchfork. But we also, if we turn on our bearish pitchfork for this bear cycle, look at where the two are meeting. Confluence of two major pitchforks at the bottom. This is why this support level right now is just so important for me, is because we're at the bottom of two major pitchforks. And then if we even wanted to pull our multi-cycle pitchfork, right? A different pitchfork that's a multi-cycle pitchfork from the COVID lows, we're at the bottom of that macro pitchfork as well. Just many macro high time frame pitchforks that are aligning with this low, not to mention anchored VWAPs, right? Remember the pitchfork I was just showing you, we rejected here at 98K, 97K, because it was the back test of our bullish pitchfork, and it was the bearish back test of your anchored VWAP. Well, right now we're seeing a support of two major pitchforks at an anchored VWAP, at the most important anchored VWAP. That's why I've been bullish, especially because we had weekly bull divs and daily bull divs down here. All right, let me see, what was I just going to look at before that? Oh, we were going to look at some of the altcoins, but I want to check Bitcoin on the low time frames because it looks like it's seeing a strong bounce right now. Or not a strong bounce, but a bounce. Yeah, we're seeing a bounce. And then I wanted to show you guys what, so this is the 5-minute time frame. This is our order flow chart. What we were seeing is, guys, this happens every single time. So we had our little range that we were kind of forming yesterday, right? During the live stream and after the live stream, a range was forming. And then we broke up through that first purple box last night. But you can see in here, you kind of have this channel structure, right? This channeling structure in here. We keep making some bear divs. We kept making low time frame bear divs in there, but look at what we see. Your open interest from that high. Open interest is significantly increasing in here. And we know that your CVD is significantly increasing the whole time. So we had a bunch of longs stepping in right into the value area high. A bunch of them, fresh long positions. So what we did is we SFP'd the high, at least on Coinbase we did, or we double topped. Let's just say we double topped. And now we're dropping here. We're literally just stopping out all the longs. We had so many longs open up at the very end of this pump, right? All this pump in here, you're having longs open up at the end of this pump. And when those longs start to get trapped underwater, they're forced to get stopped out. So what I've also been looking for is, let's see if we can take out the low there. Let me go ahead and grab my magnet and our horizontal ray. And once we start to take out the beginning of that channel, and that's going to be right around your 0.5 Fibonacci, guys, right when we start to take that out, we could see the reversal to the upside because we're just trying to stop out this liquidity trail that was created. All these late longers that longed way late. Your CVD is your cumulative volume delta, but in layman's terms, it's market shorts or market longs. It's your aggressive market participants. So when your CVD is increasing here, that means long positions are stepping in. But we need to know, are they fresh long positions or are they trades closing out, like shorts closing out, which is a market buy? So what you want to do is you want to look at your open interest. You want to see your open interest increasing because open interest is just positions opening or closing. So if your open interest is increasing, that means new positions are opening. We can tell a majority of those new positions are longs based off your CVD. So a lot of longs kind of trapped in here already. And what we're doing right now is kind of stopping them out, and then we could see that move back up. And honestly, we've pretty much stopped them all out anyways. Like we haven't hit the bottom there, but we're pretty much stopped them all out. Okay, really quickly here, guys, I do want to take a second to shout out the partners of the channel. So the main partner of the channel is BYDFI. They're a VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link in the description below, you can get a minimum of 20% discounts off your trading fees, and you can earn up to 40% discounts if you deposit some larger amounts into the exchange. They're offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses. So just by trading on the USDT futures markets, whether it's Bitcoin or the altcoins, you can earn up to $8,100 based on the amount of volume you're moving or you're using, I guess. They're also offering some of the best initial deposits here. If you deposit $100, you can get a 50% bonus, which is double what most exchanges will give you on a $100 deposit. They're giving 20% deposit bonuses up to a $1,000 deposit and 10% deposit bonuses up to a $20,000 deposit. So pretty good there. You do need to KYC level 1 to get those bonuses, but they are available for you, and I do think it's a good incentive to hop on the platform. I've also partnered with BYDFI to create that Telegram community. It's a private community, but it's free. All you need to do in order to join is you join BYDFI using my affiliate link, and then deposit a minimum deposit of $100 or more. You can deposit more if you want to get some of the bigger bonuses. But once you've done that, once you've signed up, made the minimum deposit, you click the Telegram link in the description of this video. And in that Telegram verify channel, you're going to type in /verify and then your BYDFI user ID, and that'll get you into the Telegram. /verify and your user ID. I have a few other exchanges I'm partnered with: Blowfin, MEXC, and Bybit. Links are in the description for those. They're also offering some various discounts and initial deposit bonuses. And then lastly, I have NAMI Trading, which is this momentum and money flow indicator you see at the bottom of your screen here. And I do use this for confirmations to enter and exit trades. You know, actually, as we're coming down here, you can see we're creating some really nice bull divs. And so if you wanted to long, maybe an SFP, did we SFP this? Anyways, I use NAMI to enter and exit trade. So as we're coming down to a support level or up to a resistance level, I'm not going to blindly short or long that based off it just being a resistance. I want to see some sort of confirmation to get in. So I look for bear divs. I look at the money flow. I look at money flow divs. And since I've been using NAMI to have confirmation to enter a trade or to stay out, it's really kept me getting into the better trades that are more likely to play out, and keeping me out of the bad trades that are less likely to play out. And it's increased my profit margin quite a bit. So I've partnered with NAMI. If you guys are interested, it's a paid indicator, but I partnered with NAMI Trading to get you guys 50% off. Just click the affiliate link in the description below. And when you're checking out on the website, use discount code DIVINE50 and you can get 50% off the lifetime subscription to NAMI. So just type it in that discount code promotion box, DIVINE50. All right, let me get back now to the price action. Thank you guys for putting up with that. I know, trust me, it's just part of the game, right? We long this falling wedge. Okay, you long this kind of wedge structure in here. You know, but the wedge didn't take out, it doesn't look like it took out the lows yet. Here. Nope, not there. There, at 63,686 on Coinbase. You are starting to break some market structure. You can see right here, kind of that was a lower high. So you just broke some market structure bullishly by breaking that. It'd probably be easier seeing on the 5-minute chart. You got your low, lower high, you know, and you actually haven't made a lower low below this low, but in here, you got some bearish market structure. You're breaking this. It is at least a sign that you could see a bigger push up right now, but honestly, I would rather take out this low first here, or even come down to that 0.5 Fibonacci that I just showed you guys, which is at 63,584. And you see I have my alert set there. All right. You're up 24%, Noah. Okay. Who long this falling wedge? Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Mark, for liking the video and subscribing. Please do, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're getting any sort of insight into the market from this live stream, please do like it for me. I am trying to grow the community, and I'm just trying to build something that is everyone cooperates together, helps each other out. We scrape money away from the market makers, you know. So that's and it's going pretty well, you guys. We have a really good community in here. We have really awesome, amazing traders and mods. Time Attack, much love to you, man. TGIF it is. And I hope you're having a good Friday. And thank you for modding for me. Thank you for being here. Made $2,000 last night. I can't risk $100. I can risk. Okay, yeah. 84 people watching, 28 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get those likes up at least to 40. Let's see if we can get almost half of the people to like. That would be awesome. 2,000 grand. That's $2 million. Okay. 67K or 57K next. You're thinking we're going to go down. Well, we could. The thing is, on the higher time frames, I think we're going to make another high before going down. But once again, even it, because clearly the move up, and let me go to a different chart. Let's go to our index chart, or that's our MXC chart, our index chart. Clearly we have from this low, this is impulsive in here, right? This looks impulsive. So even if we are going to go down to 57K, you would want to see a corrective move and then another move up, because you would be looking for an A, B, C, right? Now, the minimum target in an ABC, like the absolute minimum target, would be taking out your A wave highs. So could we say that this is the A, B, and then we're going to come up, take out those highs at C, and then roll over right now? It is possible, but it's very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. So our more likely scenario is that we are going to continue this 5-week sideways range in here, and that we are going to break up to new highs first. At least, in my opinion, we're at least going to take out this internal liquidity at 65.5, and more likely, very likely we're going to take out 65.5, but we could even take out your range highs in here. But that doesn't mean that we won't see a bigger flat and come down to 60K first before doing that. But the higher time frame probabilities are that we are going to see, even if it's a more macro bearish scenario, an A, B, C to the upside, where we are likely to take out some liquidity. May you show us really quick how you use the pitchfork? Yeah, I mean, coin operated, absolutely. So, like, a pitchfork is a trend. You're looking at trends, right? And let me zoom out here to the daily time frame. And for instance, on this was an upper range that we were in for most of 2025, right? And then we started to break that range down. Now, once we started to break that range down, that's when I pulled the pitchfork. So you can look at the bearish scenario, right? We topped out with some bear divs. We had distribution up here, and then we started distributing. And what I did is, okay, now we want to find our bearish trend. How low can we go? Where are those important support levels in a bearish trend? So you can pull your pitchfork and you pull it from major highs and lows of the ranges. So you can see this was our first major range high in 2025. That was your all-time high in 2025. Then I went down to our 74K lows, because that's your range low. And then now up to the new all-time high. And let me fix this there. And then we're looking at, you can put on, in a very aggressive downtrend, you can put on your original pitchfork, right? That is your most aggressive pitchfork. And you can see, well, it's been respected for the most part. Look at absolute to the dollar rejection from the midline, a rejection from the upper or the lower band, the lower limit of the lower band. Also, every time we come down to the base of the pitchfork, we are seeing nice bounces here. So that's going to give you your trend levels. Now, sometimes you will get chopped through, choppiness through it. But you can see even this upper band, upper pitchfork, support, resistance in here. Yeah, so you pull your pitchfork based off trends. Now, if you're in a bullish trend, you can see this. You broke your market structure bullishly by taking out this high. You get that retracement to make a higher low. You can now pull a pitchfork bullishly. You can go from the low to a high to a lower high, or to a higher low, excuse me, and you can pull your pitchfork there. And in a wave 3, generally your wave 3, if you're pulling a wave 1 pitchfork, I would call this a wave 1 pitchfork. You're looking for the wave 3 to end around the top of an original pitchfork. Now, we did front run it just a little bit here, but you can see it was nicely respected there. So it's based off trends and based off major swing highs and swing lows. You want to look for those major swing points. And within a range, it's really good to look at those within a range. Beginning of the range, middle of the range, into the range. You start to dump. And then we could even, once we start to break some market structure bullishly by taking out 67.2, we can start to look for a bullish pitchfork down here in this section. And I will show you guys that when I pull that pitchfork, if we get that play out in the market, then I will show you guys. But that is how to do it. Math is math, and who's brave enough to take the 1 minute flag? Nope. Finally bought Nami. I love it. Awesome, Glasshopper. Well, I'm happy, man. And let me know how you like it. I think for scalpers and intraday traders, Nami is really, really good. Really good for it because it confirms so much quicker than Market Cipher B. You can see on the 15-minute time frame right now, as we were chopping all day today in these making lower highs and lower lows, you can see we had multiple drives of bull dib forming here. Now, it's interesting on Coinbase, that wick, we haven't taken out the low yet, but on the index chart, we did take out that low. Very interesting, because look at Coinbase, you haven't taken it out yet. Let's check Bybit. You took it out. All right, so there's another thing where we could, now that we've taken out that little low in there, you could see that move up. Okay. I just go by what charts tell me. Yep, made it back. Let's go, guys. Alex, welcome in. Noah Brown, welcome in as well. Snood, much love to you, and thank you for the comment, man. I appreciate it. Looks like it might come back down. Yeah, it's starting to reject from the VWAP, guys. Your VWAP is your intraday kind of volume-based trend, and we're rejecting from the VWAP, which is not the best sign. But once again, I want to come down. I would like to hit this 0.5. And remember, that 0.5 is where our 5-week range POC is. If we turn on our 5-week range POC, you can see that it's coming pretty much right to that 0.5. Sudeep, much love to you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for modding. First time here, first time learning about CBD. Appreciate that. Awesome, Ross. Ross Bechtold. I'm happy, man. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of the community, man. If you like the style, I would like you to stick around. We're trying to grow the community, so thank you. And yeah, CVD is super important. So the one thing with CVD divergences, bullish and bearish absorption, or CVD divergences, is they play out with pretty high probability. Like if you see bullish absorption or bearish absorption on your order flow, it does play out, I would say 75% of the time. I don't have the hard statistics on that, but it does play out. And with bullish CVD, what you want to be seeing is higher lows made on the price action. So let's just talk about, let me zoom out to the 15-minute chart here. Let's talk about this low that was made last night before this kind of aggressive pump. And what we would want to see in CVD is you would want to be making higher lows in your price action, which currently we are, but you would want to see lower lows in your CVD. And what that would mean is a lot of shorts are coming in, but they're not successfully pushing the price down, right? You also want to see your open interest increasing because you can't have absorption without new money to absorb, right? So you want to see that open interest increasing. Right now, what we're seeing for a majority of the day, guys, is just positions closing out, right? We're seeing some positions closing out, and they're long positions closing out. They're the long positions I just showed you guys. The long positions that opened right in here are just getting closed out right now. That's why your CVD is dropping, because the forced close of a long is a sell, right? A market sell. And so we know that the market is selling off for a majority of the day here today, but we know that it's not new short positions coming in, pushing the price down. We know that it's these longs that are just getting stopped out or closing out. And we know that because your open interest is dropping here. So in other words, not a strong move to the downside. I would say locally, bulls are still in control. All right. Where was I? Could BTC just say screw it and rip? Yeah, it sure could. Noah, BTC could continue. We want to see, so this move up from yesterday, or 2 days ago, it's really hard to count a clean impulse in here right now, unless we're looking at like a multiple 1-2 impulse, right? Because you have 1-2, you have overlap between these highs and these lows. So you can't say this is 3, 4, and then an extended 5. You would say like more likely it's going to be a 1-2, another 1, another 2. You have more 1-2s in here. You could say all these are stacked 1-2s, and then your big 3 where you don't have overlap, you could say this is the 3. So there's a couple ways to count this, but if we have 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, that's 4 1-2s. We might see this just continue to 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5s all the way throughout the weekend, this slow, grindy price action up where it's going to go. Now, when you mean rip, like, are we going to see another giant, like $2,000-$3,000 move up to 67.3? Probably unlikely, because our only spot that we could say that there's a wave 3 within this impulse up is this area here, because there's no overlap between the current lows and your previous highs here. So we would have to say this is your wave 3 in here. You could also look at this as a triple 1-2 impulse, like a 1-2, a 1. This is like a flat here and a 2. And then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your third wave. So this would be this. So from here, you'd say that's the start of your third wave. Your third wave finished with a 5-wave move, and you're in your first 4 now. And then now you would need 3 more 4 5s in there. Oop. What am I doing? All right. Inverse head and shoulders would indicate a move about $69 if it plays out. Or I think you mean 69K. Yeah, let's see, you know, at 69K, inverse head and shoulder, I think you are probably talking about this being like here, a left shoulder, the head, and then maybe you're looking at this as the right shoulder in a breakout, or you might be looking on lower time frames, I think, probably. Unless you're talking about a different coin. And speaking of that, guys, I will go through some of the altcoins right now. Is the golden pocket and liquidity at 60,300 invalidated now before we break? No, I would say it's still valid. That's still a valid support level. We have a naked weekly point of control down there. We have our value area low down there, and we have a golden pocket down there. And we could be seeing this is, hold on, let me clean this up. This could be still just impulse here. Now we're going to get some sort of flat in here where the flat could come down to 60K, right? This would be a W, X, Y, and then you could still push up here. So no, we could still come down to 60K and have it be valid. Is it invalidated now before we break the value area high and weekly naked PLC? So no, I would say it's still a valid target. Yeah, we'll look at SUI. Let's go into some of the altcoins. So let me see. What was the first altcoin that was mentioned in here? Let me scroll back up. I am not seeing it. There was one that was like DG. Guys, let me know what you want me to look at for now. I can't find that. Oh, Rec Coin. Okay, well, I'm going to go quickly through these, okay, guys? Because I know some people don't like it when we look at these coins. Rec Coin. I don't even know the ticker for that, so Rec Coin. All right, it looks like it might be a newer coin. I'm going to go with the MEXC chart. Ooh, very low liquidity. Be very careful with this. You guys see all these wicks, these giant wicks? That's low liquidity. And, gosh, this thing, yeah, I would be very, very careful trading this because of these wicks. And these wicks, this low liquidity, it is a lot harder to find valid Elliott wave impulses. But I would be just looking at this kind of downtrend, right? So you have your highs, you could pull it to these lower highs and then to this low, and you kind of have this channel that you're trending in. Now you do have some nice bull divs on the daily time frame. Lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum waves. I have no idea what's going on here with NAMI, but you can see bull divs on money flow. and you've broken market structure bullishly, right? You took out this lower high, you took out this lower high, so you've broken some market structure bullishly. Now, what I would be watching for is once you come up and take out these highs here, you can watch for an SFP of these internal highs here. What I would say is this looks impulsive for sure. This looks impulsive for sure. Almost what, 2 weeks of straight green candles. Money flow starting to curve up. You even have very slight bull dip on the money flow here. And we could pull our volume profile. I'd probably just go for this upper range in here. Man, yeah, this is just, you're at resistance though. You can see that's where your volume, like if we zoom in on this. Yeah, I would be very, very careful trading this, but you can see you're at your POC, you're at your value area high. So watch for an SFP of the 16E-6 minus 6 or whatever, you know, and then you might see a pullback from there. And then in this impulse, you would have to look at this impulse here. What you got a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or all of this, you know, you could say 1, 2, all of this is part of a 3 so far. You might get a pullback in a 4, and then you might get a 5. Money flow looks pretty good. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, and just watch because you see how we're now starting to have this choppy kind of wedge-like structure. If you're starting to see some bear divs, we're not currently yet on Market Cypher. You're not really seeing those bear divs yet. So I would probably say you're probably going to come up and take out this liquidity up here. You're probably going to continue this chop in here till you take out that liquidity, but watch for that. And then also you can watch for the back test of the midline. But this honestly is something I would stay very, very far away from myself, just based off of the very low liquidity in this. Because in low liquidity, it doesn't take a lot to pump it, but also doesn't take a lot to dump it. So when this impulse ends, you could see an aggressive dump down. But it's looking bullish based off the bull divs, and you broke market structure by taking out these lower highs, and you're coming back up inside your volume profile. So today, you probably want to close the daily candle above 1354. Where this value area low is at. All right, DGB. I think you... Is that an all? Is that a altcoin or is that a stock you want me to look at? That DGB. Here's an altcoin. DGB USDT. Ugh. Yeah, this doesn't look very good though. You could just look at this sideways range that just broke down. Yeah, lost it, back tested it. You're continuing down here. No bull divs yet. If you make another low on the daily, below these lows, you could see some bull divs come in. And it looks like this is kind of a triangle in here. Or a symmetrical. Sorry, not symmetrical triangle. But in a descending triangle, something like this. Maybe this here. Where you're going to keep rejecting till you take out that liquidity. Yeah, and even this, like you could say, this looks pretty impulsive to the downside. So maybe a 1, all of this sideways 2. Gosh, that's a bit rough to count there. And then 3, maybe, and then 4, 5s. I don't know, but it looks pretty bearish in here. I don't even know if this is the right one. So why don't you let me know if this is the right one, and then we can start to look at this if it's the right one. But you broke this range down. This range that you'd been in for what, a couple years, from May to, you know, 3, 4 years, you're breaking it to the downside. And just no bull divs. Money flow still looks like garbage on the weekly time frame. You could pull some sort of high time frame bearish pitchfork. You go from the highs. I would go down to those first initial lows, and we could bring it up. I would actually bring it to the high of the range. We could put it on a skiff pitchfork. Let's see, is that respected? Let's do. Yeah, I mean, let's put that back to skiff and let's see which one fits better. I would say the modified skiff actually looks a little bit better. But in that case, then you could keep dropping. I mean, this thing could keep continuing to drop all the way to the midline. And you're starting to flip that band into resistance, that pitchfork band that was support. Now it's starting to flip into resistance here. All right, Sui. Let's go to Sui here real quick. Sui actually had some good support. So first off, I know this chart is disgustingly messy. I just want to say this while we're zoomed out here. First off, let me hide our parallel channel. We're bouncing at the bottom of a very high time frame macro pitchfork that has been highly respected. Look at bounce, 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 come up, pretty much reject from your upper band, break through it, bounce, 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 come up, pretty much reject from the midline. We're coming down to the bottom of the pitchfork. Now, at the bottom of the pitchfork, we are seeing what looks like an inverse head and shoulders, or starting to see some sort of accumulation in here, right? We can zoom in now on that 4-hour time frame. We did come down to the value area low, which we were looking at. I wanted to come a little bit lower. We hit the value area low. We're bouncing from the value area low, but I wanted to hit the naked weekly and the daily right below it. That's why this was a zone of support here. But we bounced, and now what we're seeing is what looks like a 3-wave corrective move to lower high golden pocket, which also happens to be the POC of this range. And if we reject here, I would expect another move down, and you would have that larger zigzag correction. On the other end, this also looks like a zigzag, right? Overall. So are we looking at a larger WXY that's forming WX and then maybe another Y to the upside to come up to this purple box? And then you're kind of creating at the same time that left shoulder, head, right shoulder, or you're creating that accumulation, right? Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, and then hopefully this thing can start to break up here. But the range to be paying attention to is for sure this bottoming range. All of this price action in here, this sideways range. So we came down to the value area low. We bounced. Let me see if that was also our golden pocket. Golden pocket, value area low. We had the box there. It's only a 20% move. Yep, so that's the proper golden pocket. Golden pocket value area low bounce. Now we're coming up to our lower high golden pocket and POC. Well, we are starting to see a rejection from there. So if we start to break market structure bearishly, meaning the important low not to take out is this low here. If you take out this 71.14, then it pretty much confirms that this was a 3-wave corrective move, rejecting from a lower high golden pocket, seeing a sell-off at fair value, your POC. If we break that down, then you're likely to take out this low, and you could probably even come for some of this liquidity that was built up in here. Yeah, and the other scenario now, let's say we are looking at a bullish scenario, then you would want to see 1, 2, 1, 2, because you have overlap between these highs and these lows, and then you'd want this to break up in a 3, or you want to continue stacking 1, 2s. But I would just be careful with that. Let's also pull our channel, because this, in order to confirm that this was a 3-wave move, you have to break this, but that's so far away. So what I like to do is I like to pull those channels. We can pull it from the low to the higher low, up to that first big high. And look at, you can see this channel. We rejected from the highs of the channel. We're chopping down here. So if you start to lose the channel, I would say this is probably a corrective move that's done. And depending on how you chop down to that channel, you know, it could be around, let's see, 72.3, or if we continue chopping in here slowly, it could be around 72.9 or even 73 cents, right? And then you could see that breakdown. Come up to the midline, see the breakdown. But overall, I don't like the way this looks. Three-wave corrective move, and you're rejecting from that golden pocket, which is your POC. You also add liquidity. I thought I had an alert at 75 cents because I was planning on taking, I took this long. I took some, I have to check that. Guys, give me just a second here. Okay, yeah, I'm good. I took some profit on that, so. All right, let me scroll down to the bottom and see. Mr. Rekichan, much love to you, man. Welcome in. It's Vicky. Welcome in as well. Yeah, we can check BTC real quick, and then we'll continue going through some of the altcoins. Bitcoin's just chopping, guys. We're just chopping between the value area high and the POC here. So really, there's nothing to do until we make a decision in here. There's nothing to do. What we need to wait for is either the loss of the POC, and if we lose the POC, I think we're coming down to 62.5, 62.6, right? That's where your local golden pocket is. Golden pocket is there. Now, the other scenario that we talked about is this is being an impulse, you know, some 1-2s in here. You get your 3, and then so we would be looking for the 4s, and that target at 63.6 is pretty much an area where we could just wick a little bit below it and then start to reclaim it. But we're just waiting. We're simply waiting until a decision is made in here. I don't like how most of the exchanges did not take out our high. To me, that is actually bullish. This retracement, because a lot of exchanges didn't, it's likely that we could come make a new high. Because remember, this now is pretty much guaranteed to be a corrective move because we took out this high. We broke market structure bullishly. We took out that high. So this is almost guaranteed to be a corrective move there. And that means you're looking to take out the highs and potentially continue up to much higher targets. When I say much higher, I mean like this purple box or this purple box. All right. Why are altcoins looking somewhat more bullish than BTC? Well, Noah, we can check our Bitcoin dominance, but it's probably because of Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is probably, yeah, crashing here. Not crashing, but seeing a corrective, correction. Bitcoin, I put this triangle on the chart. I think we were on higher time frames in here. I mean, this, I kind of made this arbitrarily, but we were looking at this potential, because you have your big aggressive move down here, right? We're looking for a 5-wave move down on Bitcoin dominance. 1, 2, 3. Are you going to get a triangle in a wave 4 before seeing a 5? Triangles are very common in wave 4s. But Bitcoin dominance is breaking down. From these lows here, you could say this is some sort of contracting diagonal in here. That wick doesn't help it, though. I would just be looking at that range. Yeah, you're breaking down. Altcoins are pumping against Bitcoin because you're rejecting around your golden pocket and your value area high, and now we're starting to fall back inside of it. Because of that, and even if this is a contracting diagonal here, when you end a contracting diagonal, you generally retrace pretty deep, right? You retrace to the 786 or the 886. Golden pocket is also an area to watch, but I would be looking to come down around the value area low, and then we could put on, that zone. Yeah, zone in there somewhere. I think that lower piece, yeah, that lower piece was pulled off of the 2 lows on the daily time frame. So coming down to around the 786, that means Bitcoin would pump. And you can see on the daily time frame, you're rejecting your golden pocket, you're rejecting your value area high of your range. So if today's daily candle closes red back inside of our volume profile, you're expecting altcoins to probably push up against Bitcoin. And honestly, because this move down here, looks to be an impulse that's not complete, you're looking for it to go way lower, meaning Bitcoin or altcoins could pump a lot more against Bitcoin. All right, Solana. Let's go to Solana. Well, we were looking for a long down here because it was our daily level and our naked monthly point of control at 58. What I do not like about Solana right now is this looks like a three-wave corrective move as well, guys. Three-wave corrective move. We came right up to that. Well, we didn't hit the naked monthly, but you hit your golden pocket. You hit your previous range value area low. This was a range for 4 months that we were in, 4 or 5 months. You can see we lost that range with a high amount of volume right here. You lost that range. You dumped. You could not hold it. So now we bounce from a support level, but after bouncing from a support level, if you see a corrective move to bearishly backtest it and you start to reject, you're expecting new lows overall. So it is not a good sign that we're seeing this here and rejecting from the bearish backtest of your value area low, which also happens to be the golden pocket, right? If you pull a golden pocket from your range highs to these new lows, golden pocket is coming in at $82. We're rejecting that. So now let's zoom in a little bit. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, we're starting to lose that, right? And you even created an upper kind of a distribution range up here. Little mini distribution range right here. Look at this. You have your tap 1, tap 2, tap 3 starting to distribute down. You're breaking it down. Now, what we're seeing currently right now is this range broke down. You bounce from the bottom of the pitchfork. You're seeing a move to backtest that range. If you backtest it and you fail, you're going to expect this dump. The big thing, we are not, so if you pull a volume profile of this entire corrective move up so far, you can see we're still above the value area high. So that is, if you're a bull on Solana, that's somewhat of a good sign because we could come down and break this down just to grab liquidity, bounce from the value area high, and then see another move up and maybe actually hit that naked monthly point of control. Because I don't like how we have such a, let me get rid of this. Okay, I don't like how we have pretty much a double top here. But this was a little valid distribution range, low time frame distribution range that started to distribute down here. And from that high here, we could be looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more low to come in and hit that, grab liquidity of 3 and hit that value area high. Let me see if that's been invalidated. If we pull a golden pocket from the highs to the lows of a wave 3, yeah, your golden pocket has not been invalidated yet. And if we're looking at our wave 4 targets, where are you rejecting? You're rejecting from your 0.5 Fibonacci. So it is now higher probability that this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to make one more low and at least probably touch that value area high. Now, if this larger move is an overall zigzag correction and it's done with, you're eventually expecting to take out the $61 lows or the $60 lows. But could we see this range extend more, right? Could you see this be a overall on the daily time frame 3-wave corrective move? Then you get an A, B, C down here, and then you get another 3-wave corrective move, and it just makes this turn into a larger range, kind of like Bitcoin did in here, right? You got this overall 3-wave move, and then big move up here. But overall, it turned into a bigger move. So you can see something like that on Solana where it turns into like a multi-month bigger corrective move. Yeah, this is old. Interesting. On Binance, the value area low was a bit lower. It was at 80.5. On Coinbase, your value area low was at 81.4 pretty much. Coinbase volume levels are more respected to me. So what you could be looking for is an SFP of the lows from Wednesday into the value area high. That's going to be coming in at 75, let's say 75.78 or like 75.7, 75.8. And then you might be able to get a scalp long off of that, right? So say you come down like this, you SFP, and you start to get back above that low. You could look for a very tight long position. Stop is going to go below that value area low. And then I would just be targeting the golden pocket. So you'd pull a golden pocket from the highs to the lows. And actually you would want to go with your impulse high. So this high to the low, you'd put your golden pocket on and you could be looking for a scalp long up to the golden pocket. And I bet you that golden pocket is going to be in close confluence with this range. Value area low. Yeah. And that's still a good scalp, right? You see that's a 7-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So long 75.7, take profit at 80.6. Actually, you know what we'll do? And I probably won't take this trade, guys. I'm telling you right now because we're going into the weekend and I don't want to babysit a scalp over the weekend, but I will set an alert. I want to get it a little higher. I'll set an alert here, 75.8, and we'll see. Actually, it would probably just be better to create, if we get that SFP, right? You come down to 75.7, then you get above 76.18, you could long. And then I would be just looking for a move up to wherever that golden pocket's going to be. Now, if you don't get that, let's say that this keeps busting through. I'm not taking the long. You want to see the bounce and the reclaim of this low. Because we could also say from the highs, the actual highs, we could be looking at some 1-2s in here. 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is going to go 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, you know. And that's actually kind of more probable based off of us rejecting from our lower high golden pocket. You could see an aggressive flush down here. I also was disappointed that we didn't hit the naked monthly point of control at 58. We had a naked monthly point of control there. And we hit a daily level that was there. You can see that daily level. It's tapped now. I left it on the chart to show you guys it was there. But the naked monthly point of control at 58.08 did not get hit. And the naked monthly's for sure a more important support. All right. Let me scroll up here in the chat. And when do we accept that volume profile fill theory is invalid? Are you talking about on Bitcoin, Alex, that the volume profile fill is going to be invalid? Well, if you start to break out of the value area high again, that's a good sign for the bulls, okay? So then you probably are not going to fill this volume profile. And I think you're thinking about this weekly, this just past week, the small local volume profile. But if you start to bounce here from the POC and you attempt to break out of this again, you're more than likely going to come up to your purple box of resistance. And then after hitting your purple box of resistance, we would have to watch for some more 4-5s, right? Maybe we're going to do this and then finally come up to hit the weekly. We have a weekly level at 65.7. And we also have a naked weekly point of control there at 65.7. I don't know why I have two of those. After seeing the 4-5s come in, though, you could get a bigger retracement. Just watch, you know, we're watching to see whether if we break out of it again, after hitting the actual resistance, if you fall back inside of it, then you would probably fill it and maybe even come down to 60K. Okay, sorry, yeah, okay. I think I got that, Ross, that question about the inverse head and shoulder. I think I did answer that. So just let me know. When do we think the inverted head and shoulders plays out? I think you are talking about this inverted head and shoulder, right? Like this being your left shoulder, head, and then maybe we come up. So in an inverse head and shoulder, you would want to break these highs first. It would give you the most bullish sign, right? Because that's a bullish break in market structure on the daily time frame. After taking out 67.3, you might see that big retracement all the way down to the golden pocket, and you would simply pull it from the low to wherever that high is going to be, and you'd be looking at that golden pocket. That would actually line up very nicely because you would take this liquidity from Wednesday into that golden pocket, and then that's when you would really look to long the crap out of this. And you would look to long the crap out of this because you had your bullish market structure break, and you had an impulse, impulse. Shoot, I mean, that even that, because you could dump back down again and see that fake out of the channel. But we'll look at all that as this happens, guys. We have time, and we haven't even come up there yet, right? We don't know if we're going to come up there. But I think based off the weekly bull divs that we're seeing, I personally think if we do continue this up and break above 67.3, I would strongly be looking at us to add to the swing long here and look to really break this inverse head and shoulders to the upside. And we will have time. And also, after this finishes, you want to look at this move down. You want it to be like a 3-wave corrective move, right? And you want to see bull divs between these lows and these lows into your golden pocket. And then you would, if you have those bull divs, oh, you look for longs there. This is theoretical right now. ETH, yeah, we can check ETH, Snood. Ethereum, I haven't checked Ethereum in a long time. You can see I haven't checked it since, what, June 30th. Wow, okay, well, ETH actually looks pretty nice here. So first off, this is starting to look like an impulse, right? A 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like we're going to come take out that high on ETH to complete an impulse here. But also on ETH, this looks like a 3-wave corrective move. But you did take, or you didn't take out the lows, but if you hit your 0.9 Fibonacci, which I'm telling you, you got so close to this low that you did hit the 0.9 with this. So that means we could be looking at a flat. A, B, C in a flat, meaning you're looking to take out these highs. Or a WXY, right? 3-wave move, W, 3-wave move, X. And I do have to say this is looking more impulsive here. But you're still looking to take out those highs. And also, let's talk in terms of volume profile theory. You bounced from the value area low, you held it as support, you broke above your POC, you kind of flipped that to support. You now broke out of your value area high, you back tested it, and since you back tested it a couple times now, and you're holding. So what you can look at is if you want to do lower time frame trading, you're going to pay attention to this week, right? This is kind of what Bitcoin is in a week-long range. That is equal to this range on Bitcoin right now. But you can see that you're breaking out of the value area high of that range, and you're holding it as support. So because you're holding it as support, you would expect to take out this high, and it's so close, you would probably expect to take out this high. Oops. This would be some sort of flat, a flat and a 2. You have your 1. Here's your flat and a 2. This is all your 3. And actually, it would all come up to here, and then you would have 4. And then we would be looking for one more push up here. And then you could just pull that volume profile of this week-long range, all the price action pretty much above the value area high. And as of right now, we're still seeing the same thing that Bitcoin's seeing. You're rejecting your value area high this morning, but you're just chopping around that POC. and the VWAP. You can see today so far, VWAP hold, VWAP hold, VWAP hold, VWAP hold. You're starting to break above your POC again. To me, it's very, very highly likely that we take out this high. And if you look here, nice 3-wave move down. You took out the lows of the range with that move. At the bottom here, on low time frames, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, backtest it, breakout. So in other words, we can set an alert at 1848 to see if we get the SFP there. Because if we're looking at a bigger flat, then you're going to want to take out that high and then see a retracement. And we have another volume profile we're looking at. What is this one? Yeah, this is our 5-year long range. You can see we were bouncing from the POC of a 5-year long range, but that one's not near as important right now. What we want to look at is the 5-month long range, right? So this was a previous range that we broke down from, and you can see the value area low of that range is at 1912-ish. So you might continue pushing up in this move. You might push up to get that back test, right? You're going to come a little bit higher and not see an SFP, but you're going to back test the value area low and then break down. You had a range in here. It broke down. You're forming a range down here now. And when you start to break out of the range, the lower range, when you start to break out of the lower range, you expect to back test your previous zone of balance. This is your previous zone of balance. And if you reject on the bearish back test, then you would probably come down and look to take out the double bottom. If you can get back inside of it, flip it to support, you're looking at least to come up to the POC, but more than likely you're looking to fill it, right? You're looking to come up to the value area high and fill it. But ETH did have some, well, actually we didn't have bull dips. So Bitcoin made a new low. It went from 58K to 57.7. ETH did not make a new low here. So we do not have the bull divs on the daily time frame. The ETH did. We did see some bull divs on this move. You can see the bull divs in there. And this is the 8-hour, but you did have some 8-hour bull divs. And now we'll zoom in here. Let's go to the 4-hour. And I want to see if we have potential for bear divs on the 4-hour if we take out this high. But it's so close to the range highs, I would probably suspect that it's going to take them both out together. But you would see that would create higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, lower highs in the momentum waves. By then, you would want to see this money flow starting to curve down. And then on NAMI, you're probably going to see bearish divs on the money flows. I'll even set an alert on the high from Monday. We'll just add an alert there as well. It's only what, a $15 difference, $14 difference, something like that. So is 60K a good area for swing short TP from 70K plus, or better wait till low 50s or beyond? So Kip Corn Sheriff, welcome in, man. I think what you're asking, so if we go up to 70K first, right? Wait. Yeah, so you're saying a swing short from 70K. Well, first off, let's do this. What's at 70K? First off, if you break above this range high, there is nothing in here that is going to really stop you. Your quick move down means if we do break above the range high and flip it to support, you're going to come up quickly through all of that. There is nothing here to support you. So your next kind of zone of resistance would be looking at going from the high of the impulse to the low of the impulse. And remember, that was a 5-wave impulse. You'd be looking at your golden pocket. Now, if that's more than a 30% dump, let me just zoom out to the daily to make this easier. I think that is more than a 30% dump. So we go from the high to the low. Yeah, it's exactly 30%. So you want to take this and put this on log scale. Okay, it's going to shift your golden pocket to the proper area. 72 to 73K. Okay, that would be, because you're probably going to bust straight through this. Look at this. There's a big fair value gap in here on the daily time frame. If you start to fill that fair value gap, you're going to get sucked straight through it. And you would probably get sucked straight through this one at least to hit the golden pocket. Now, sometimes the beginning of fair value acts as resistance. So if we get the SFP of 67.2 and reject from that fair value gap, which also happens to be your pitchfork band, if you get the SFP, I'll tell you a swing short that I'm possibly looking at is SFPing 67.3 and coming all the way back down to 60K or 56K, excuse me, 56K, which is the value area low of your 2-year long range. Now, if you get up to 70, let's say you get up to this golden pocket, you know, you get up to this golden pocket, you reject, and you're looking for a swing short from this golden pocket, what I would be looking at is I would pull a new golden pocket from the lows to wherever those highs are going to be, and then this golden pocket is where I would be looking for a major TP. And let's just say that that's the case, right? We go from the low at 57.7 up to 72. Where did I put that? Let's put it right on the 0.618. Okay, now you're at 62.8, and then you would pull your volume profile of the lower range, and you can see your POC would be right there too, right? So that would be a really good potential swing short. And you would want to see this go something like that, or if it's an, you know, impulse correction, impulse. But remember, if you break that market structure bullishly by taking out 67.3 and continuing higher, that means you're looking for a higher low to continue the trend, to reverse the trend to a bullish trend. And that would also make sense. That would also make sense. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, breakout. Break above 82. So yeah, that's what I would be looking at. We'll, if Kipcorn, if you stick around through the live streams and the videos of over the next weeks, I'm going to be paying attention to that scenario. So we'll be able to look at that more in real time too, rather than speculate too far in the future. We're just going to go by what the charts are showing us. Okay, I believe the potential time frame for the 4-hour, 2-hour inverse head and shoulder would be somewhere between next week and 2 weeks out. So the 4-hour and 2-hour. Let me go to the 2-hour. And I think you're probably talking about this range, right? Left shoulder, head, and then if we break down to 60K, right shoulder. Yeah, okay. And I looked at that altcoin for you. Ginchogchev. Sorry for butchering the name, but that one was very low liquidity. I'd be very careful with that, okay? All right, let's see here. I am way far behind in the chat. So sell my 64,550 short. You're in a short from 64,550. I mean, I'm in a short from 64.1 from this morning, and I'm not planning on closing it. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out, right? It's a hedge short because I'm already long, and I'm way more long than I am short. But I mean, that's a good entry, man. That's a pretty good entry up there. First of all, I don't give financial advice, and this isn't financial advice, but if I was in the short that you were in, I might TP a little bit at this POC because we do keep, and actually look at, we just took out the lows finally on Coinbase. I wasn't paying attention. We just took those lows out, and did we hit our 0.5? Not quite yet, but we came down to the 5-week range POC. But I would stay in it. I would have just taken some profit because you can see we're hitting that 5-week range POC right now. Oop. But if you start to break back above the value area high at 64,150-ish, 64,150-ish, then you're probably going to make new highs. So in that case, maybe if it was me personally, and I don't give financial advice, but I would be closing that short if I broke back above the value area high. Or if you break market structure bullishly, right? Just going on to the low time frames, you shorted 64.4. So we've been chopping sideways and down, but if you start to break this 64,174, now it's an official market bullish market structure break, right? Low, lower high, lower low. And if you start to break that, it's a bullish market structure break. Now we don't want to look for the longs. We want to look, or the shorts, we want to look for the long or look for the price to continue. I wouldn't be looking for longs up in this range, but I would be looking for new highs within the range. Yeah, Bitcoin did that nice liquidity grab. Yep. Got that liquidity grab of that low. We also got the liquidity grab of the start. Remember how earlier today in the stream, I told you guys all the longs opened in here and we had a bunch of fresh longs. And what we were looking at on the order flow was that, let me go back to the 5-minute, was taking out the start of that channel. Well, we just did. We just got the SFP at the start of that channel. So all these longs that were in here have now been closed out if they're responsible traders, right? Yeah. And we still haven't broken market. Now on the 5-minute, you want to break above this high, right? And that would show you somewhat of a bullish market structure break on the 5-minute. Because we could just continue seeing this sideways and down chop, right? And then you might waterfall too. But I have to say, this is, remember, you got the big push down followed kind of by that channel structure. It is starting to look like it wants to reverse here. I think BTC tapped that golden pocket. You might be looking at a low time frame golden pocket. Oops. Not that one, nope. Not sure which one Puria beat golden pocket you're talking about, but we are tapping the POC. And we didn't hit the 0.5 yet, but we pretty much came to it, right? It's a zone. Remember, it's a zone between the 382 and the 0.5. What do you think opening along around 63.5? Well, I mean, that is your wave 4. Unless you're, okay, let me say this. You can, but you have to make sure you're using proper risk management, right? Because if we're expecting that this was our big push up in a wave 3, right, from here to here in a wave 3, then you're looking to see some 4s and 5s, right? 4s and then 5s and then 4s and then 5s. So yeah, I could see you trying to long a wave 4 to take out these highs, but then what you have to do is, me personally, I would wait for a bullish market structure break first and then a retrace. I would take the long position. My stop would go below wherever that low is, and then I would be targeting the highs. And that's still a valid 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio scalp. But you have to make sure you set stops, because if you start to break below that, or if you continue to maintain bearish market structure in here, you don't have proper confirmation to take the short. You would want to wait until you get some sort of confirmation, or to take the long, not the short. But 63.5 could hold us, Noah, and we could push up. It's closer to 63.6. You can see 63.608 here. I think I'm a little bit late on answering this question. Yeah, Alex, I'm going to be looking for that long from 60K, 60.3 to 60.1. It's like 375 to about 60,100. We had that naked weekly point of control pretty much at $60,100. And this box is just poorly pulled. Yeah, okay. I like 80% I'm like 80% it will drop, take the liquidity at 61.3, 61.3. Yeah, the Monday lows. I mean, if it does, we'll look for the SFP in there if we get it. If not, we wait until we get down to 60K. But the fact that not all the exchanges took the high today, like Coinbase was the only one and it was like by what, a few dollars? I think it's likely we continue up to take out the high. But I also hedge against myself, right? Even though my bias is to come out and take out the high, I still am short from 64.1 because I could be wrong. I'm long from way, way lower right here. And the reason why I long that is because we had our bullish market structure break by breaking this lower high. You had your bullish market structure break. After breaking market structure bullishly, I said, let's watch for a 3-wave pullback to make a higher low. And then you could long because you have confirmation now. And that's what I just explained to you. And look at where we pulled back to, your golden pocket, right? You pulled right back into that golden pocket. So the question you just answered, Noah, can I long from 63.5? Well, you want to see a bullish market structure break first. That would give you more confidence that you're going to put in a higher low. And then you could look for the long. So in this case, what you just asked for, I would want to come up here. I would want to see a break of a higher low. You'd want to break some market structure so we could see this, break this here. And then if we break that and then you get a pullback to golden pocket, you could look to long the golden pocket to take out the high. And your stop would go below the low, right? Below the low, taking out the high. And I would put it a little bit more below the low. Give it some breathing room. But you're waiting for that bullish market structure break for better confirmation, for better peace of mind. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Wow, you got a long at 57.8. Dude, you caught like the bottom pretty much. That's really awesome. And if you're long from 57.8, why do you want it to come down? I would be like, let's go, push up. Yes, Crypto Wander, we can check hype for sure. Okay, now on hype, we rejected our naked monthly point of control and our 786. We had this box up here as a potential rejection zone. We rejected, and now we are seeing overlap because we could have said, like, okay, is this an impulse from here? By the way, we look for longs down here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Impulse can be complete, maybe. And now we're going to see a B, C to golden pocket or an A, B, C to your 786. Well, we talked about this yesterday. Remember, the bottom of the channel could hold us and we could continue chopping within this channel. But we are rejecting. We broke market structure bearishly by taking out that low. You can see we're also flipping these lows into resistance pretty much, right? And this move up that we saw over the past couple of days looks to be a 3-wave corrective move up. And now we could say it's more likely to be confirmed 3-wave corrective move because you just took out this low, or you haven't yet, you're about to, right? As soon as we take out this 66.61, now you can say it's far more probable that this was a completed 3-wave move and we're about to continue down. Yeah, let's see if we get it. But the naked weekly point of control is at 64.68. It's there. You could see some sort of reaction from it, but to me, the 2 green boxes I laid out are much better. You have a golden pocket here with a naked daily point of control. And I would be looking specifically towards the bottom of this box for a potential long. And then this is even a better zone to me because you have a liquidity grab. Because remember, when you break a channel down, you're looking to grab at least the liquidity of the second pivot, if not sweep all the liquidity of the entire channel. And Yeah. And then, could you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here? Yes. Or you could look at this as a three-wave corrective move after clearly an impulse here. Impulse, correction. You're just extending this range, this sideways range. But look at your POC. Well, actually, okay. So what I would do here is I would look at two different ranges. Obviously, we have the range of this entire upper price action. That's the volume profile I have on the chart right now. But we can also, after this impulse finished, where we made new highs, we took out these highs, we made new highs, you can look at the corrective range afterwards. So, in other words, this price action. Okay. So now we can pull our volume profile, and I'm going to delete this naked monthly because we hit it. I'm just going to clean this chart up a little bit. And now let's pull our volume profile over. Okay, look at where your value area low is too. It is, to me, guys, it's highly likely that we're going to come down here. We're losing your POC. You're starting to lose the POC. Also, once again, this is likely to be a three-wave corrective move because we're about to take out that lower high at 60, 61 or 66.61. So you want to take that out, 66.61, and then you're likely to dump to your golden pocket, your value area low of your smaller upper range, naked daily point of control. If you lose that, you look down here. If you lose that, you look towards the bigger value area low and maybe grab this liquidity into the bigger value area low. Yeah, but you know what? I think I'm going to set an alert on the naked daily point of control, and I'm even going to set one on the naked weekly. I'm going to set one on the naked weekly just to let me know when we're getting close. And if it occurs over the weekend and I do see the long from this zone or this zone with confirmation, I will let you guys know in the Telegram, hey, we're coming down with confirmation. I'll let you guys know if I'm deciding to enter a trade or not. But yeah, it looks pretty good. These levels we laid out yesterday still look pretty good. Okay, Big Deal Whales, welcome in, man. Good to see you in here. Are you using, okay, I think you're talking to someone else. You're asking someone else some questions. How long have I been doing this? Well, I've been in crypto since 2018, but I was doing a lot of DeFi and spot trading until about mid 2020, maybe like even 2021. And I started getting serious about technical analysis in about 2021. I'm no different than the people that bought, I bought the top, whenever Coinbase got listed, I think it was in April of 2020. I was buying in February, March, well, January through up pretty much until that Coinbase launch. I got trapped. I got wrecked just like everyone. I bought the top. I also didn't understand risk management and I got wrecked multiple leverage accounts. I had to learn the hard way like a lot of people do. And yeah, it's just, you learn over time, right? If you truly learn from your mistakes and stick with it. So it's been at least 6 or 7 years. All right. Hi, Divine. Can you share in the Telegram? It is the Bitstamp chart, not Coinbase. Huh. Okay. So if I click Coinbase chart and then I go to share layout. Yep. Copy link. All right. Is it not letting you click over though when you do that? So let me go to here. I will post. All right, I just pasted the chart again, or I just it is the Bitstamp chart. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on, let me do this. Save. Why? It does look like it's sharing the Bitstamp chart. Now, you should be able to go in though on like, you should be able to see my list still of all these coins, and you should be able to click on the Coinbase chart. I don't know about that. If one of you guys knows, because I don't claim to be a tech expert here, and if I can find out how to share the Binance or the Coinbase chart, I would do that. But you guys are gonna have to let me know how to do that, because I'm on the Coinbase chart. I click share, and it's giving you guys the Bitstamp chart. So I don't know why it's doing that. Huh. Let me check the chat. When you make a copy of it, open it in Coinbase. Okay, when you make a copy of it, it opens Coinbase. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Eka-chan, you're absolutely right, man. We've all bought someone's boat, house, whatever, car. Like, definitely. Let me know, Crypto Wanderer 5813, if that worked, and if you can go to the Coinbase chart. If not, I will. Maybe I can ask ChatGPT to help me with that. I don't know. Yo, would you just use USDC and MetaMask to trade on VDEX? Personally, I couldn't answer that question because I've never traded on VDEX. Would you just use USDC? Is it in USDC? Like the pairs, are the pairs in USDC? Because you might have to if the pairs are in USDC. Yeah, Mark, you said, I think a bounce would make sense. The real bottom will be formed when stock market starts to dump. Yeah, I think so too, man. I think we could see a brutal bear market if the stock market's going to collapse. But like from these lows, I expected at least a medium time frame bounce, right? From these lows in here and like the bull divs that we were seeing in here, I expect at least a medium time frame bounce. Already, it's been almost a $7,000 move. But if we get that one more brutal crash, man, I think if we start to lose these pitchforks, I've shown you guys here on the higher time frames, we have multiple high time frame pitchforks and anchored VWAPs at this support in the high to mid 50s, right? If we start to lose the high to mid 50s, I think we could see a drop all the way down to 41 or 39. Now, I've seen Andy from Bitcoin Consensus in the past couple of days cover this, and I've seen Coons Trading cover this, and they're both great Elliott Wave analysts. But one of my main scenarios I've had on my chart for this entire bear market is the WXY correction. A W here, an X here, and then all of this being a Y, A, B, C, and a Y, and then go up for a new bull market. Now, I know that our Y wave is almost 4 times as long as your W wave, but time is not a hard invalidation. It lowers probabilities, but it's not a hard invalidation. And I just saw Andy, I think it was yesterday, talking about this being the WXY in here, with your Y wave being a big ABC that's taking a bit longer than expected. But if the WXY ends, then you're looking to take out the highs, the all-time high in this case. Not straight up, obviously. The other scenario that Machi HK laid out in here that I think is also a valid scenario is seeing the bigger A, B, and then seeing a C down here coming down to like 39 or 41K. I believe it's on my Binance chart. Yeah, you have your anchored VWAP on Binance around the weekly down here, and then that's also pretty much where that one-to-one target is. If you do your trend-based Fibonacci extinction, your extinction, $39 to $33, so if we start to lose where we're at now, guys, I mean, we could see a move down something like, and this anchored VWAP would probably start to roll over a little bit too. So, here, this is the biggest support level of Bitcoin's history. It's the biggest support resistance flip, and it's your macro golden pocket. You also have that target there. If the stock market collapses, I would not be surprised if Bitcoin drops to 34 to 32. Okay, the inverse head and shoulder I'm seeing has its left shoulder bottom around 62K. Similar size shoulder to what's just been formed on the right side. Okay, let me see. So you say it around 62K? Like this here? Well, okay, if we're looking at an inverse head and shoulders here, like a left shoulder, head, you would still want to come up to around your neckline, reject, and then see a right shoulder being made. Because you want it to be that, you know, a range pretty much where you make a higher low. But you would still be looking on this push up to come up towards the high 70s to low 80s. And then you could reject and come back down and create that right shoulder. So if that's the one you're talking about, that is the accumulation I have been talking about, where we could push up to 77, where your pitchfork midline is in confluence with some liquidity. And I believe the 786 was up there. Remember, we're putting this on log scale. Well, that's your non-log scale, 786, but it's at 30%. So you could put that on log scale if you wanted to. So yeah, 76 and a half, you know, somewhere in here. Grab some internal liquidity. And you would be looking for maybe coming down again into this area to create that left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Or you'd be looking at pretty much an accumulation zone in here. Starting to flatten out and be accumulation. The other thing is a Model 1, right? Because remember, we're in that channel in here. So you could see another new low being made in here where you have the channel. You have a mini Model 1 in here. And then you break that channel up. You come up. Maybe by then, your 73K golden pockets aligning with the pitchfork. And then you would get a bigger descending channel where you're going to come down and make new lows again. Actually, I want to go on to the Binance chart, and we will do this. We'll pull that bigger channel. Okay, there you go. Wow. Coming up to the, so this anchored VWAP on Bybit is from the bear market lows. And for some reason, Bybit's anchored VWAP is way higher than everyone else's. Coinbase's, we just touched it at 57.9. Index chart just touched it at 57.9. Now, Bybit, for some reason, it's way higher, and you can see it's going to be at 68, like 68.3, 68.4. Okay, let me see. Guys, I do got to get going in just a second here. I was copying the URL in the Telegram, not the chart in TradingView. Oh, okay, so did you get it worked out, Crypto Wanderer? Let's see. Yeah, I'm... Okay, got it. Yes, okay, good. Awesome, Crypto Wanderer. And thank you, Sudeep, for helping out with that. Have we talked about Circle recently? No, we haven't. Circle. Man, we haven't talked about Circle, but what I don't like, I mean, this looks pretty, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, impulse down, 3 wave corrective move up. And now we could be about to take out the lows again. But I would just be paying attention to kind of this. It's tough because it was just listed, but like you do have sort of a range forming in here, kind of a fair value, a balance zone forming in there. Yeah, and you're coming down to your value area low. Now, the other range that I would like to pull would be from these lows and look at, yeah, same volume profile. Value area high is a little bit lower, but we're looking at POC and value area low anyways. Now we can look at okay, you're coming down and you're hitting your 786. You're seeing a bounce from your 786. But the big thing is if this is a three-wave move in here, part of a bigger flat, you're looking to come take out this low at, what is that, around $50. I would now just simply watch the back test of the POC, because if we come up here and we reject the POC, you are going to at least rotate down to your value area low and maybe even take out the lows. We can also pull this. Yeah, you're around your 1.618. Because the other scenario is that this is an impulse, right? You have your 1-2s in here, 1-2, 1-2. You got your 3s, and then you start to get your 4-5s in here. You can see that. You do have a possible valid impulse here. After the impulse finishes, we could be seeing an expanded flat correction. Drop, corrective move, impulse, and a drop. And your expanded flat, kind of the extreme target for that, is the 1.618. And you are bouncing from the 786. So you would want to see it pretty much this low be the low, right? Because now on the daily time frame, we've broken market structure bullishly by taking out this lower high. We broke market structure bullishly on the daily time frame. We closed above it. That's a bullish sign. So now let's look for a move up to the POC. We can take our golden pocket from our last daily range high. This was a range that lasted about a week in here, down to the lows. All right, 786 is where that naked weekly, I want to make sure that's a fresh naked weekly. No, it's not. That's old. Hold on, let's do this first. Let's go to the 2-hour time frame. All right, so we do have some interesting naked dailies in here, but let's also put on our golden pocket with that. Okay, I like where this golden pocket's at. You have a naked daily right on top of that golden pocket. And then you have it one even a little bit above that golden pocket. So what I would be watching is, because we're breaking market structure bullishly on the daily time frame, we can look for a higher low. You can pull your Fibonacci from the lows to the highs, and you want to be looking around your golden pocket, which is looking like what we're trying to bounce from right now. But because we broke market structure bullishly, if we put in a higher low here or at the 786 at $64, $65.5 to $64, then you could be looking for a move up to this golden pocket. And look at, you would have very nice liquidity resting right into your golden pocket and naked daily point of control. An SFP into a gold. Anytime you have a liquidity grab into a golden pocket, pay attention to it for a possible reversal. But also, if you have a naked daily that's also there, a volume resistance level that's also there, man, that's going to be a good thing to watch. It's also probably going to be the value area low of this little range. If we pull this little range in here, yeah, pretty much right around the value area low of that little range. You can pull a volume profile of this little range. All right, see, this is the level kind of to bounce from. It's where we're at right now, 65.5-ish. Bounce and then continue. And even if it's a three-wave corrective move here, A, B, C, reject, continue down, you know, you still would want to see that move up here. If you hold this, you would still want to see a move coming up there. And if we take our 1-to-1 trend-based Fibonacci extinction target, look at where it's at, you know, right in there. Makes sense to me. This whole zone. $76 to like 78.3. All right, let me check Bitcoin real quick, and then I'm going to get going. Guys, please do hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And remember, if you're not in the Telegram, I try to keep you guys updated throughout the weekend in the Telegram, and that's the only way that you can get updates from me throughout the weekend, because I usually don't make content videos or streams over the weekend. So, yeah, we are starting to bounce from that POC. We still haven't broken market structure yet. Okay, remember, we want to break some market structure. We want to break above $64,000. You don't want to see this, though. Backtest that VWAP and then start to reject again. You know, you could just continue this grindy, choppy crap. But it does look like we do want to make a new high. And most exchanges did not take out that high. So, I mean, guys, you know, to me, it looks like we're going to come up there. Also, you're starting to see some bull divs developing now. Let's see if we got those 15-minute bull divs. So now we have confirmed 15-minute bull divs on Market Cipher, and you have multiple drives of 15-minute bull divs confirmed on NAMI. You have money flow bull divs confirmed on NAMI on the 15-minute. Wow. Yeah, I mean, this aggressive drop followed by the selling exhaustion. Now that we've stopped out all of these long positions, you could see the reversal up. Remember, guys, to get into the Telegram, you have to join BYDFI using my affiliate link, deposit a minimum deposit of $100 or more. Once you've done that, you click the Telegram link in the description of this video, and in that Telegram Verify channel, you type in /verify in your BYDFI user ID, and that'll get you in. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate the kind comments. I appreciate the really good questions you guys are asking. I understand a lot of you understand trading. And if you just stick with it and get that trading psychology and risk management down, trust me, guys, you'll build a skill that can make you be successful for long, you know, wealthy, successful, you know. So thank you guys. Have a good weekend, and I will see you, unless you're in the Telegram, I will see you Monday.